good morning and welcome to Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This is a support intended especially for solopreneurs. And this morning we're going to have a conversation about online community. So, since there are not many of us here, and we don't have a presentation, I will invite everybody to introduce themselves. So let's see. I'm going to go in the opposite direction this time. Nathan, you were the last one here, so you get to go first.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, my name's Nathan Siegel. I'm coming to you from Bucerias, Nayarit, Mexico. And my thing is marketing in one way or another, to do with copywriting, to do with affiliate marketing, and showing people how to live the digital lifestyle on the road. In other words, how to make a living when you're traveling.
Hmm. Right on.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to see if anybody's in the YouTube. Not yet this morning. So Fred, I think you were next. Do you want to introduce yourself? He's having troubles with his internet this morning, I think. So it looks like he is frozen.
He hasn't unmuted himself, so.
No, but I think
Yeah, who knows?
he's
Oh,
saying
there he is.
I moved back to the boat next week. The internet is better there, he's saying. Right. Okay, so that's Fred Jones, and he's here in Victoria, and he works with youth online, creating doing leadership work with youth, and he does this on an international level. I hope that's a good introduction to you, Fred. Next, Vivek, how would you like to introduce yourself? You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I need to unmute myself. Namaste, my name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. So I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential.
Right on. Is it winter in the UK yet?
Yes, it is. It's quite cold outside. Hasn't snowed or anything, but yeah, it's quite cold. And we did move our clocks to winter time. So officially it's winter.
Uh-huh. We haven't moved our clocks yet. So, right on. So I'm glad you're here, Vivek.
Glad to be here.
And David, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dave Flannery with Affordable Websites for Small Businesses, and I make websites for people that want to improve their internet and for small businesses. Javita is in the
yes,
and says hello to everybody.
Hello, Javita. Happy you have joined us.
And we're broadcasting both on YouTube and through the website.
Right on. Thank you for being my wingman, David.
You are welcome.
I think most people who do this kind of thing realize that it's really nice to have a wing person or a wing man or a wing woman. I know that I do. I perform that function for something I'm doing online. just so that the presenter doesn't have to pay attention to all this stuff. So let me see. I didn't introduce myself. I'm Lolan from Victoria, BC, and I like to work with retirees who are interested in creating an online business. And I like to refer to myself as the elder geek. So now this morning, we were going to talk about community. And just by way of a bit of context, I listened in to a Tinkering with Tech session a couple of weeks ago, where Heather Crafter asked the question, "What is community?" And the answers were really quite interesting, and the number of because of the variety of answers. And she noted that in her own business, she was um, kind of wrestling with how do you create a community? What do you need to do, and where should it be, and all of that. And it struck me that the same questions apply here. So I just thought it would be a good idea to have a conversation about that. And there's a couple of reasons that it is becoming important for us to think this through. Is that we've all been using Google Hangout. I mean, we've all been connected there, and it's always been easy to send a text through Google Hangout to people that we're connected to. But Google Hangout is going away. And I actually received probably an email from Google outlining, that this and that and the other thing is going to disappear. And Google has now replaced Hangout with Google Chat. And Google Chat at one stage of the game was only available to G Suite people. Now, during this COVID time, they did extend that to the Gmail people, but from what I read, I got the impression that that was not going to that was going to change. And by the way, they're not using the term G Suite anymore. It's now called Google Workspace. Is it, Vivek? Yeah, Google Workspace. So there are a number of things that we all need to pay attention to, those of us who are Google people. Where are we going to go, and how are we going to stay connected with one another, etc. So it struck me that it is time for us to have that conversation. So I'll just throw a question out, and let's see how everybody reacts. So my question is, what does it mean to be part of an online community? What does it mean to you? Anybody want to go first?
It means you are part of you are in a group of people who are from different time zones, different cultures. They may have different languages that they speak, different versions of English, maybe.
Yeah.
And their upbringing has definitely been more likely to be much different from your own. So it is a very diverse
Mm,
space where lots of people would come together, interact, and so on. So
mm,
that's what is a community for me.
mm.
So
So what do you get?
especially online.
So what do you get from that experience, Vivek?
Um,
Personally,
as a, as
personally.
a yeah, as a human, um, I mean, human species is what it is mainly because of the connections that they have. It's um, not because of, I mean, that there were, if you look at the prehistoric times, and there are different species, and only the Homo sapien, that is the present human, survived. There were other Neanderthals and all those other species, they didn't. The difference between the two was us, Homo sapiens, connect with one another, relate with one another.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have more social interaction, whereas others, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Although I have to tell you, I watched a movie on Netflix last night. It was
mhm,
amazing. This may seem as though it's not relevant, but it is. It was called The Octopus Teacher,
mhm,
and it was about a human being who created a relationship with an octopus.
mhm,
So we do have relationships with other animals, cats and dogs and horses and so forth. So I think other species are capable of relationships. They may be a little bit different, but what you are talking about is there is a relationship. You
mhm.
experience a relation with a human, another other humans from other places. Yeah. Um, Nathan, what about you? I saw you waving. What does it mean to be part of a community for you?
Well, connection is a very simple answer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, one of the things is when I was on Blab, especially, it was like having a fireside chat with a whole bunch of friends in the room, even though we weren't. And it was just something I really enjoyed. And actually, in the last couple of days, I've been asked to build a community down here
Mm-hmm.
as a result of an article I wrote that got a lot of views. And several people reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk to you." And one
Mm-hmm.
guy in particular yesterday said, "You need to start a community. We need something for a lot more like-minded people like us to get together."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You need to start it." And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my article, it was about what's happening in the world. I won't get into the details of it, but if you want to know about it, I'll tell you where you can find it. But I got over 1,200 views in 24 hours,
Mm-hmm.
which is a fair number of reads. And there was a channel, or not a channel, a Facebook group, hundreds of comments, lots of haters too. But there were a number of people who reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and
Mm-hmm.
can and they're looking at me in a particular way. And my editor loved my article, and he said, "Hey, I want you to write at least 6 and preferably 12 more."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "This really did wonders for our site, and we want more."
Okay.
It's like, okay, but
So,
there's a community aspect of it, and it's a good question about it, because one of the things I'm thinking about is, where should I have it? Because Facebook is very volatile, as we all know.
mm-hmm.
WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, so that could be problematic. Where else am I going to go? And
Mm-hmm.
somebody told me about another meeting platform called Telegraph, I think is what it's called, or Telegram. And I just signed up for that a couple of days ago, because we were saying, the problem is the volatility and the censorship, the rampant censorship that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful. And so I don't really have a good handle on that.
Right.
Um,
So
mm,
where is a big issue for sure. So
yeah,
we will get into that, but I want to hear
yeah, cool, cool,
what David has to say.
sure,
What does
no
it mean
worries.
to be a part of a community to you?
Is it an internet community or is it
An
just a regular
online community,
an
yeah.
online community?
Yeah.
It means that we are communicating through the internet, a group of people communicating through the internet to either transmit information or comfort each other or work on a project, and you're doing it through the internet, through either email or through Zoom or the I forget what it's called, but the 3D um, virtual reality that we were watching
Yep.
the other
Yep.
week. So it's just communicating through the internet somehow or
Mm,
some form.
mm. So you're mostly what I'm hearing is relationships, conversations, sharing of information, and maybe doing some things together.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I guess I like I've been doing a little bit of research and thinking about this, and I started to realize that there's something else there though, is that there is a common interest that the group is interested in a common interest, and that's probably key is the common interest. Um, and what was the other thing? One of the some of the things that seem to come up is that to expand on the concept of relationship. I think that if we're going to be part of a group, then we want to feel encouraged and honored, and sometimes even showcased a bit. So these are all things that sort of came up for me, and I see where Javita is saying I'm very fortunate to be part of WA Wealthy Affiliate Coach and Success Circle community. All are always encouraging and supportive. So you hit the button on the head there, Javita. I mean the supportive piece is important. It's not only that we have a common interest, but we are supporting each other. And so that kind of means that we are giving, like, to be part of a community, we're all giving back. We're all contributing something. And I think that is an important piece as well. So I see Jay just joined us. You just joined in time to answer a question. What does it mean to be part of a community to you?
It depends if it's my community or if it's someone else's community.
Well, talk about both of them then.
Okay, well, we'll start with if it was not my community, I'd be there to learn and engage.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two primary objectives: is to learn and engage.
Mm. Okay.
Now, if it was my community, it would be to teach and engage and profit
Uh-huh.
in that order.
Mm. And profit. Okay.
Mhm. Because I mean, if it's my community, the end result is to capture leads, earn profit.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. Well, you missed the beginning. We've talked about in a community there are relationships,
Mhm.
and there's the like a free exchange, exchange of views, sharing of information, um, but there's a certain kind of social interaction,
Mhm.
and that's what you mean by the engagement. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And piece that I added was common interest.
Mhm.
It's never going to be a community unless everybody shares a common interest. So
Yes.
that's really 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 important, and that we feel supported. You just missed hearing that Javita says out there in YouTube that she feels supported and encouraged in
Mhm.
both in WA with affiliate coach and success circle. In all of those,
Mhm.
she feels
Yeah.
supported and encouraged. And we also sort of talked about showcasing each other.
Mhm.
So there's a certain amount of well, there's a few other things that I wrote down from my research was a feeling of unity, thriving through a common goal, shared experiences, and sometimes even a shared sense of identity. So, I mean, those are all things that come about. So, if those are the things that we all want to experience in a community, then I guess the next question is, so given those things, what supports are required to make all of those things happen? Anybody suggestions?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to want definitely a solid, like from a technical perspective, you're going to want a really good solid background, or I'm sorry, a solid platform.
Mm.
And then from there, way to communicate. So how are you going to communicate? Are you going to do it just through text? Are you going to do it through audio? Are you going to do it through video, or a combination? What is the common ground? And I think consistency is also a really big thing
Mhm.
with when it comes to offering support. So in an example, so every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific is the Lao Land show, and then every Friday at 5 is the J show. So
Yeah.
so it's consistency always rules, because then people will
Mhm.
create a schedule around them. So that's really important, is having that consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also a very clear objective as to what the community would be about. Like several years ago, I built a community for conversational Spanish in Victoria, built it from zero to hundreds of members in a few years. And I was consistent, always the same night, always the same times. There might have been different locations, but at one point we did settle. And as for the purpose, it was very clear, and it was always the same, and it never really changed.
Mhm.
And it allowed me to build it really quickly, and find some really great people, some wingmen to help me, who just showed up and said, "Hey, I'd like to help you." It was just awesome, wonderful.
Mhm.
And so I've been asked to build a community again down here in Mexico, and yeah, I need to take what I used with Meetup, but I don't know if I could use, like, Meetup is a great platform, but not very popular in Mexico.
And not suitable for online.
No, definitely
No.
not.
No.
No, you can't use it for that. You'd have
No.
to use something else. And I don't want to use Facebook for obvious reasons.
Right.
Something else, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Zoom, who knows?
Well, we'll get to that. But I need to hear David. What about? I mean, for you, what supports would you think are required for a community?
I'm going to have to beg off for a quick second. I got to.
Oh, his phone just rang. So, what about you, Vivek?
By support, you mean technology and um, the technology should be easy to use and easy to explain.
Mm,
The explanation part is very much important when you want to get new people interested and involved and all that.
mhm,
If it is very difficult to explain, then you'll spend a lot of time and effort doing just that, explaining the technology to somebody else,
mhm,
who then may turn around and say, no, this is way too complex, I can't handle it, and
mhm.
then go away, which means you have wasted so much of time and effort.
Okay.
So it, technology which is
So
easy to use and easy to
simplicity.
simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess from where I mean another support, I think, over and above the consistency and clear objective, etc., is kind of a welcoming. There's um I think I'm thinking about somebody new dropping in, and what would need, what sort of support would there need to be for somebody new, and from where I sit, it would be that they need to be made to feel welcome,
Mm.
not just by the moderator or the leader, but by everybody involved. So to my mind, that's a really important support. So um, now we might want to get to what sort of what location, and I did mention at the outset that we were going to talk about, we needed to talk about the fact that so many people are connected using Hangouts, and Hangouts is going away, and
Mm.
excuse me, I mean, I've received an email within my inbox not all that long ago from Google explaining that the Hangouts are going away and chat is not necessarily going to be available to everyone. So then that begs the question, what location? Where does this happen? And it was interesting when the um, Tinkering with Tech group, there was a whole mass of people on the outside saying, "Oh well, it has to be on Facebook." And then there was a whole other mass of people that said, "Never on Facebook." And then we got into the Discord, which is a lovely little platform that allows you to do everything that is free of charge. And yet there's some of us that are in there and we post things. You can post things, you can share things, you can have conversations with one another, you can interact, you can do everything that you would want to do. Yet there were people that said, "Oh, I don't like the notifications that come from there." And it seems like there's no one platform that satisfies everybody. And so it strikes me that a community, the members of a community need to have an agreement as to where are we going to gather, where are we going to meet, and how are we going to keep up our engagement. I mean, yes, every Tuesday morning we have the success circle, but what happens in between times? If we didn't have the hangouts that we've always used to connect and share things with one another, where do we go? How do we do that? So I want to hear what everybody else thinks about this. because Vivek
I-
and I had an interesting conversation last week about creating trying to find a way to bring people to your own website to do that, and there may be a way to do that. But I'd like to
Mhm.
hear what everybody else thinks about it.
I think Discord is something to look at in terms of creating an online community, because it offers a variety of different options in terms of what could be done. You know, you can create different channels, if you will,
Yeah.
threads kind of thing. And, you know, you can use media, you can upload video and all
Mhm.
sorts of things. And then in terms of meeting online, I think the you can integrate Zoom into that as well. So
Yeah.
versus, I think that's an option there. I think when it comes to meeting virtually on your own site, I think it's a great idea to create your own community on your own land. Just you want to make it technically as easy as possible in terms of logging in. I mean, so if someone, the biggest thing I think is cookies, meaning having the ability where if someone gets an email saying, hey, Jay's live right now, click here to go see, they can just click that email, the link in that email, and then they can go and see the live feed versus logging in and then going to see the live feed.
Yeah.
So I think that's really
So,
important.
so what would you recommend for some sort of a meeting place on your site? I mean, I remember bulletin boards from years ago, but that's obviously not good enough, I don't think.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, Vivek was suggesting a possibility of a forum, creating
Yeah,
a
a
forum
forum. Yeah,
on
that's
your own website.
yeah. But the trouble is with the forum, at least from what I can recall, is that it's pretty much text based, and there's
Yeah.
mind you, Facebook is too in a lot of ways, Facebook and image or text and images. But
Yeah.
but if you would want to have a conversation with people, would Zoom be the best way of doing it? I don't know.
Well, in my opinion, I think Discord is probably one of the better things as well. I agree with
Will,
Jay.
will it allow you to have?
I've been on Discord for quite a long time, but the trick is, like, if you're going to be part of a community, you need to get the notifications
Of course, but
from that so that people stay connected.
right. But can you have conversations with people on Discord?
Mhm.
You can.
Mhm.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. I wonder if you could integrate it into your own web presence.
I can't think of a way to do Discord. I mean, Discord is out
Well,
there.
yeah, there is a way that you could pull it in, I think, and that would be with an inline
I don't
form.
know. I haven't
Yeah,
looked into that, but
cool.
I guess the question still arises.
Yeah.
If if a group wants to be a community, then they have to choose a place, and everybody needs to agree that this is where we're going to meet, and this is how we're going to go. So
Guess what? By the way, I just did a quick search. The latest update to Discord includes our new widget. You can get the widget you can embed it on your site. Add the Discord widget to your site.
no, there you go.
Hey.
So there's a piece I didn't know.
Well, I
wouldn't
didn't know either, and
recommend
I
it,
threw
though.
out the question because it would really be great to build a community on your site, because that's where you want them to be. You want them engaging with your content and everything else, and going, cool, okay, you guys are giving me some great info. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would be selective when it comes to putting Discord on a site. The only reason
How come?
why is because Discord in itself has become a brand where, like, they have an app, they have an iOS app. I'm sure they have like a PC app as well. So it's almost not needed. And then if you already have a Discord account, you can then just jump onto your Discord, and then on the left you'll see the different what they call servers
Mhm.
on the left-hand side, and you can jump into any one of those servers
Yeah.
ad hoc. So you just literally join that server, and
Well,
you can start take place in the conversation. So,
but if you want a
um,
conversation on your own site, what would you set up?
well, I
know?
wouldn't use Discord. That's the. I mean, I wouldn't.
I get
Sorry, I
that.
wouldn't embed that. So, but to have a conversation on your own site depends on the platform. So, if you're using Joomla, there's something called Joom Social. If you're using WordPress, there's a variety of different WordPress options as well. In terms of creating your own little community. I mean, everything technology is out there and it's available when it comes to your own platform. So, I mean, if it's
just
on
never.
a Wix site or a Squarespace site, that I don't know. You can have it on its own subdomain, like members.yourdomain.com, and
Yeah,
then
of
use some
course.
sort of proprietary software there.
Yeah,
Another
okay.
option is using something called Kajabi, which its own software,
Yep.
but that's also a paid module as well. So there's, I mean, there's
Yeah.
tons of options out there.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
I guess the question that arises for me, though, in terms of attracting, and that was going to be my next question, like how do you, what needs to be done to grow the community? And I guess the question in my mind would be, would a new person be more apt to go to a place like Discord rather than just come to my website? Because then it becomes my community.
Well,
And
it's
I guess the question is, how would prospective members, new members, feel about being part of her community as opposed to the community? Does that
well,
make sense?
yeah, it does. But I had my own community on Meetup, which I ran for 4 years.
Hmm.
And in terms of the marketing, I did only 3 things every week. I put an ad on, oh God, what is it called? It's uh, it's one of the
Craigslist.
sites. Yeah, uh, I didn't use Craigslist all that much. I used Kijiji, and I used, geez, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Used Victoria?
Yes, thank you. Used Victoria and Meetup.com, and that's all I did.
Hmm.
And it was extremely effective. I did that every single week without fail, once a week, just talking about what I wanted to do, and it worked extremely well. Yeah, I didn't use Craigslist all that much, from what I remember. No, I used Kijiji, and I used
Mm.
Victoria and the Meetup
Mm.
site itself,
Yeah.
and it worked extremely well.
Mm.
So to do that now, I mean, well, Kijiji's not an option in Mexico.
Mm.
News Victoria is not a good option down here
No,
either.
no.
But it wouldn't be all that difficult. I mean, I would just talk about it in different Facebook groups, and I don't know if I'm going to run a meetup again or not, because a lot of these people are talking about wanting to meet live as opposed to online.
Mm.
And if it's live, I'm going to use Meetup again,
Mm.
because for me, it was a fabulous way of meeting people. And the groups were great.
I haven't seen anything having to do with Meetup for a long time.
Well, maybe you're not on any of the notifications for it, which would explain a lot. But
Maybe.
it's
Yeah.
still around. Lots of people using it,
Mhm.
but not so much down here.
Right.
But that's what I would do. I use that. Like, one of the wonderful things about Meetup too, which I really liked, is that they've got an autoresponder built in,
Mhm.
so you could use it in that way. And that's the
Mhm.
other thing that, and I'm sure Jay would approve of this, is to get the members off of whatever your platform is onto your own list, so you can send them out notifications of events in
Mhm.
addition to being on the platform. Now, yeah,
Mhm.
there may be a bit of doubling up, but it also ensures that everybody gets the messages. And if you want to use it for monetization, then it's a really good idea.
Mm. So, Dave, I know you've been interrupted a number of times, but what do you think? Would an individual being a member of a community, would you rather go to somebody's personal website, or would you rather go to something external like Discord?
Well, Right now, I'm a member of Discord, and I haven't been on it in months. I have
Hmm.
no community there at all, and the people that we were like you, I communicate with you through Zoom or through Google Hangouts
Yeah.
or Meets or whatever. Not Meets. Um,
Chat.
whatever Google's, yeah,
Chat.
chat, Google Chat.
Hmm.
Um, the other people I meet is they're all on Hangouts, or in Basecamp. I do use Basecamp, thanks to Jay, and and those are the ways that I communicate. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to going to Basecamp. If I had someone that said, "Hey, we're setting up a group," and I was interested in that group, I would go through base camp at all. You know, it's just that no one ever. We were going to all switch to base camp, and that never happened. Or not base camp to Discord, and that never happened. The you do go to some meets communities. I have a Divi uh, meets I do, and then there was one where it wasn't. We were meeting in Rockford, Illinois. It was actually a physical meeting, but
Hmm.
I've not seen them come back with a virtual meeting
Hmm.
um, yet. So
Right.
uh, since the since our pandemic has come, um, so I do use meets once in a while, and was
Hmm.
thinking about doing a couple other of them that's come through
Hmm.
um, in virtually. But
So
anyway, I've been
basically, I think I'm onto it. If the whole group agrees they're going to use a certain platform, then that's where it needs to be.
yeah. I
And
mean,
um, what did Javita said? I would like to be on a personal website or a dedicated area like Basecamp. I hadn't thought about Basecamp as a platform for a community. Is that possible, Jay?
Um, yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's used inside a base camp is the campfire. So, which
Hmm.
is basically more or less a chat module.
Hmm.
So, and could it be done? Absolutely. I mean, everyone would log into Basecamp. You can mention people,
Yeah.
you know, so you can stick people on. The problem is that you'd have to invite people
Yeah.
one at a time, more or less, and
And the
as
other
opposed to people just joining.
yeah, the other thing that I mean the difference between that as far as I can see and something like Discord is like you can go on and I mean you can share all kinds of things in Discord. You can do everything there. And
Hmm.
that's what we all liked about Hangouts. We could do everything on that one
Hmm.
in that one place. But that's going away. So and then um, so Nathan, you were wondering whether Zoom would be a place for you to create a community. You would you can create a community. You can have contacts and whatnot within Zoom, um, but you might want to live stream it to somewhere.
Yeah, I don't
And
actually
so
think it would be the.
that would have to be I mean you can within if you're using OBS you can use Restream and then you can live stream to several places through
Yeah,
Restream.
I'm not necessarily thinking about that right now. It's like it's needing to create a closed community of like-minded people
Okay.
because some of what I'm dealing with down here is quite volatile, and
Right.
I want to be careful who
Right.
comes in. So it's an evolving thing. I don't know what I'm going to do for a
Mm,
community. I might do meetup again, but then again, what I'm thinking about might be too controversial right now.
mm,
I mean, there's just so much censorship going on in the world at the moment, and it's like recently YouTube went through a massive purge of a whole bunch of sites, and a whole bunch of people just lost their channels, lost everything.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously with mainstream media, I'm not going to touch it, but something else, I'm not really sure what.
Right.
But I would like the idea of people being able to be on my site and have the community there as to what I would use. I don't know yet.
So on your own site, in other words, you'd have to have a website and
Yeah, I've
have
got
some
one.
way
That's
to, yeah, some
yeah,
way to
yeah.
bring them
I've got
there.
a site. That's no worries about that. That's the
Mhm.
easy part. You know, I've got all that covered on WordPress, but it's just
Mhm.
finding, as Jay was saying, perhaps some sort of a plugin that would do the trick.
Mm.
I haven't even thought about it before, really. So it's something to look into and see what I find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Vivek, what about you? Would you, I mean, how do you feel about something external like Discord, as opposed to going to a person's website? To my mind, there's kind of a difference there.
Yes, definitely there is a difference. It in a way it does depend on who the person is
Mm.
and what that person means to you as such. I mean, um, a public website like public platform like Discord, it belongs to somebody else. It belongs
Yeah, it
to a
does.
company.
Yeah.
So you can build a community there. Then what happens if the management of that platform decides to
Start charging.
start charging, or just like Google has done?
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
were all happy with Google Hangouts, and then they say we are
gone.
discontinuing.
Yeah.
So
Which is why I've been making comments about having something that's on your own platform, because hopefully that won't happen. But in technology, as we all know, there are no guarantees
Nope.
except for change,
Yeah.
and not necessarily spare change either. But
So my last question, and we're running over. We are running over. I knew it wasn't going to be a half-hour discussion this morning, but my last question is, what do we need to do to grow our community?
Can answer that.
yeah, consistent advertising for one, but also being very clear about your purpose, having a consistent location. I mean, for me, it was actually really simple. Even though we did move around in the early days, the time was always the same.
Mhm.
The amount of hours were always the same. The mission and the purpose was always the same. They made it incredibly easy, and also to weed out people who weren't a fit. You know, how do I put it? It was real simple. Conversational Spanish, no English except for questions. Instructors are welcome so long as you don't try to poach. If you try to poach, you'll be asked to leave. That's it. That's how easy it was.
Mhm.
And it really didn't change over the entire time that I ran the group. And a friend of mine took it over and he ran it for 3 years after me. Same thing.
So, but the people who came
Yeah.
as a result of advertising.
Either, yeah, or they
Yeah.
heard about it from people. Like
Yeah.
there were two people who showed up one night who just happened to walk into the store owned by one of my members of the group. And they just wound up talking to her, and she directed them to the group, and they became best friends with everybody, including me.
Yeah.
And that was just
So
a
word of mouth.
referral. Yeah, word of mouth. It was amazing. It was awesome.
Mhm.
But lots of different ways it can happen. And if I wind up doing it again down here, I know exactly what to do. And it's super easy,
Right.
super easy.
So, anybody else? Jay, you had a comment for that.
Yeah. So the way I see it is it's an end result. So how do you, how are you getting leads right now? So it's the same kind of thing. So if you're blogging, or if you're doing YouTube, or if you're doing podcasts or whatever, it's something where it's a call to action. Hey, join our community of like-minded individuals. this and that, and that could be at the end of a blog post, that can be at the start and end of a video, if you start doing a lot of YouTubes, so it's basically it's a call to action. So however you're already doing call to action, so if you're blogging, because then when people are coming in, they came in through a similar topic and a similar kind of module, so that way when people come, it's not going to seem so foreign to when someone joins the community. It's like, oh, what is this? I didn't know I was joining conversational Spanish.
Right.
Whereas if you're blogging about conversational Spanish, then of course then people kind of expect what they're going to expect.
Right.
So yeah.
What about special invitations?
Like exclusivity, that certainly does work. I've never tried it, but I think that's certainly something where or bring a friend day, referrals and stuff like that. So that's an option. I do got to get going though, so
yeah. I think we all
uh,
do. I can see Nathan has dropped away as well. So
Thanks, Jay.
and so um, I think that we are 10 to 10 unless anybody has oh, there's Matthew finally joining in. So I was just going to say that I honestly think that we're going to do an interview with Matthew Powell, a local solopreneur here, next week. So he's just joined out there. So oh, he made a comment about Nathan. Yes. So David, you had something you wanted to
I have
add.
one more thing that I would like to add to this, and then we can end. Figuring out where your like-minded people are is a big help. Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they on YouTube? Are they on your blog, your website? Knowing where they're at and being able to communicate to them that you're forming a community would be one of the ways that you would be best served. And if they're in a certain media, you might be best to communicate to them there.
Yeah.
Because they're less, you're going to get people that will move from one from Facebook to Zoom, but you're not going to get as many people as if you could do it in Facebook. So you're losing numbers by going to a different platform. Now, if you have to go to a different platform because that platform is not conducive to having a meeting or whatever, then you have to do that, and you'll just have to suffer the losses. But that's what I'd like to input.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I agree, because one of the things I've noticed is that if you're on Facebook, if I notice that most people who are on Facebook don't want to leave it. They don't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground this morning about what is community and how it works and where it should be or where it shouldn't be. I don't know that we've come to any definitive decisions, but we certainly have talked about what makes a good community for sure. So I think at this stage of the game, I will say thank you for joining me, and to Nathan and to Fred and to Jay who had to step away. Business and life happen. So so we will stop recording with this reminder that it's important to do what you love with passion. And we will see you next week, where I will help Matthew become acquainted. You become acquainted with Matthew, and Matthew become acquainted with you. So see you next week, Matthew Powell. And I just need to do the Alt 4.